I have honestly never seen a radio show before it starts get destroyed as much as the afternoon drive is getting destroyed with Chris Carlin, Bart Scott, and Maggie Gray. Now, last week they did start, technically. Carlin and Scott were together on Monday, Carlin and Maggie on Tuesday, and then the rest of the week it was the three of them, I guess for test runs. I mean, it confused me a little bit. I mean, when you're saying a show is going to start January 2nd, yet there they are on, December 20th, and they're doing the show already. But be it as it may, it's almost like spring training, somebody said. Because I tweeted that out, and somebody said, well, maybe it's like it's almost like spring training. They're getting ready. Okay. So then they had the show last week, and the reaction is just brutal. Sports Radio, which is a great YouTube channel. I'm subscribed to it. It used to post up Francesa segments from the show. Joe and Evan, they still do. And they did Bart, Scott, Maggie Gray, and Carlin. They did afternoon drive clips, and just it would get 2 likes and 20 dislikes. Just hugely negative response. So now he's doing Chris Russo segments on his channel, and it's Sports Radio, so subscribe to it on YouTube. But this is my take on the afternoon drive. And I listened to them last week. I listened to Carlin and Scott on Monday. I listened to Carlin and Maggie on Tuesday. And I listened to the three of them either live Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, or I listened to clips of it when they were still posting it up at the gym later that night. And it's not a terrible radio show. It's not the worst radio show in the history of radio shows that everyone keeps saying. No one will ever be Mike Francesa. I think that's a given. And I think that's the most unfair thing here, is that Francesa, for 30 years, dominated. I mean, he was in that slot and dominated basically from day one. Yeah, they started off rocky, him and Russo, in 89. But it was smooth sailing not too long after that. And then when Russo left, Mike's had a good 10 years of just being on top. Now you have these three people come in, and people don't want it. It's not like the station fired Mike Francesa. He decided to move on from FAN. What are they going to do? Play 4.5 hours of replays? Joe and Evan weren't going in the slot. Joe Benigno doesn't want to stay until 6:30. It's been well documented that Benigno does not want that slot. Did Evan want it? I don't know. They did address it the other day. They said they were asked. They're happy where they are. And again, listen, they're killing it in the 10-1 slot, and it'll be the 10-2 slot. And they do a good job. But let's face it, Benigno didn't want the gig. Did not want the gig. He gets out of there, he goes golfing. He enjoys the rest of his day. You don't want to sit in traffic. It's been well documented that Joe says that. So, people are... And again, it's not fair to them, too, because I got people calling up Joe and Evan all week and killing the show. It's not fair. And they got to answer these questions. Look, what I take from the first week, they're trying way too hard. Carlin's Carlin. I love Carlin. I think he's great for afternoon drive in New York. I thought he was doing great in Philly when I would listen to him on IP. And he wasn't a Philly guy. And I thought he was doing great with he's a sports talk show host. He does a good job. Maggie Gray has been trying a little bit too much this week, from what I hear. Too many jokes. Too many, analogies. She's trying too much. And I think Scott's the same way. And Scott's also caught himself talking about teams in baseball, and he says a football name. Let's face it, the guy's a football guy. It's going to get used to it. Are they talking over each other? Well, no. And sometimes you do get that in radio with a three-person team. You're not getting that. They're not stepping all over each other, which is a good sign. Carlin will be fine. You don't have to worry about Carlin. Carlin's done it before. It's Bart Scott and Maggie Gray, which Maggie's done radio before. And she's brilliant and she knows what she's talking about. Now, someone said apparently that, she doesn't know horse racing. Okay. Mike knew horse racing. There's not a lot of people in New York going to be breaking down horse racing. Only Mike could really do it. I guess Rousseau will do it too on Sirius. But not a lot of people in afternoon drive in New York are going to be handicapping horse racing. So if she hasn't seen a horse race, okay. Who cares? Scott, we know his football expertise. And I think so far, he's brought up valid points when it comes to football. And he's held his own in Mets discussion and Yankee discussion. Time will tell. But I'm not ready. I've grown up listening to WFAN on an afternoon drive basically since I can remember. And it was Mike and Chris, now Mike, and now Chris, Maggie, and Bart. I'm not ready to turn the page yet on FAN Afternoon Drive. I'm really not. I'm not. And I've heard the test runs. They're not terrible, folks. Yeah, you can see some jitters, but you know what? When you have nobody giving you a shot before you walk in, and you're replacing a legend like Francesa, you're going to be a bit nervous. You're 100% going to be a bit nervous. No doubt. But I wish him success. And it'll be interesting now to see Michael Kay, that show over there on ESPN, has not been able to beat FAN in afternoon drive ratings since they started. ESPN Radio has not been able to do that at all, no matter what show that they put on. Now, they've gotten a little closer. You know, not ESPN in general, but the K show was putting up decent sized numbers. And obviously the change from AM to FM helped them immensely. It'll be interesting to see how they fare in the new book. Let's give them some time. But again, if you have 4 or 5 ratings books in a row and they're not doing really good and they're getting killed, you're going to hear more people just going crazy. But I think FAN will stick with them for as long as they can. I think they'll wait them out. I don't think they'll be a terrible show. I really don't. Yeah, it's different. Am I a fan of the 3-person radio team? Not really. But then again, the same people here complaining about it. We listened to Opie and Anthony with Jim Norton. Basically a 3-person team right there. Jim Norton just wasn't in the title. You know, it's the same people that I hear killing it. I see that they listen to Mike Golick and Trey Wingo in the morning. Golick's son's on there also. It's a 3-person team. They're not complaining about that. Let's give Carlin Scott and Maggie Gray the benefit of the doubt. It's not easy replacing Mike Francesa. Nobody. It's unfair. We saw David Lee Roth when he replaced Stern. And someone said, well, Boomer and Carton did fine replacing Imus. Because Imus' ratings weren't that great when he left FAN. They were not great at all. Plus, it was a sports talk show on a sports station replacing a politics show that was growing stale with a guy who they weren't getting the numbers that they were getting with Imus. So it was a little bit easier. And I think this show is better than David Lee Roth in terms of, David Lee Roth replacing Stern. I think it's better than that.